sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts. So come check out their pizza and wine bar, or get a treat from the bakery made fresh daily. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout, along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
Tune in for Philosophy Talk, the program that questions everything.
Except your intelligence.
Coming up, microaggressions.
Oh, like asking someone where you're really from.
Yeah, that's something folks from marginalized communities experience all the time.
And a lot of people who ask those questions don't even realize what they're doing.
So, is it their fault?
And does that even matter?
Microaggressions, next time on Philosophy Talk.
Philosophy Talk, every Sunday at 8 a.m. on AM 950.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clouds clear out tonight with a low of 10, then partly sunny Tuesday with a high of 29. Cafe Latte is unlike any restaurant you've ever experienced. Grab a tray and pick from their award-winning selections of soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts. Cafe Latte, Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul, or cafelatte.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken.
And this is Ghostbox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakken. Thank you very much for joining me this Monday after Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday, however you celebrated it. I had a great weekend. You didn't ask, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I had a great weekend, and it was really nice. I actually, as someone who is listening right now, I know I got to meet some people I never met before over Thanksgiving. Some family members and whatnot, and it's something I haven't done before, and it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool meeting new people, and it was a good weekend, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I hope everybody had something fun. I haven't been in the studio since Tuesday. We pre-recorded Wednesday and Thursday show, and I'm kind of like, how do I get in here? I kind of forgot just about everything. It doesn't take long, sadly, but it's, I think we're back up and running. I mean, maybe we're on the air. I don't even know anymore, quite frankly. But it's good to be back, and we got a big week. We're going to talk about that in a second, but we're going to start it off with, I think, a pretty incredible story. There's a lot of pieces to this, and we're going to kind of get going on it here right away, because there is a lot to get through tonight. We're going to be talking with Cindy Sauer, and she wrote the book, The Exorcism of Cindy Sauer, and there's a story. I mean, obviously there's a story within the book, but there's a story beyond why we can't get the book at the moment. There's a lot of things to talk about here, and once again, folks, if you are listening, feel free to put in the comments any questions that you have, anything that you'd like to say, and we will address those as well. But I'd like to welcome Cindy to Ghostbox Radio. How are you today?
Good, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for joining me. And I thank you for joining me much earlier as well, I must say. I'm
I was ready. I was excited.
I mean, you were. Do you mind if I tell the story
real
fast?
Great.
You're like, this is amazing. Did you get the times wrong?
I did.
Okay. I mean, clearly you did, but I mean, I just want to make sure that
I was just ready to go,
Well, I mean, it's a big deal being on this show, isn't it? That you just, get there. Yeah, exactly. You get here about 4 hours early,
Yeah.
and I get this message from Cindy. I'm in StreamYard.
Oh, am I like your most enthusiastic guest? Like,
Yeah, normally I have to track them down.
well,
Are you
hello.
going to show up tonight or not? So, yeah, no, you are definitely you're all ready for this. So,
it was. Thank you for having me on, though. I really do appreciate it.
absolutely. Now, do we start with what happened? Is that where you'd like to start?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good place to start at the beginning. Well,
Okay.
Yeah. Well, oh, geez. It was okay. I mean, if we just for the beginning of things, I think people should know that, yes, I have had an exorcism.
Mm-hmm.
I have had it was a sanctioned exorcism.
And what does that mean?
That means that it was approved. They have to go through to do this. It wasn't, a deliverance or anything like that. This was an actual, what people think of when you think of exorcism. So yes, that did happen.
Got it.
I mean, and that's what the book is about. The book covers a good bit, but there's so much more than the book. And that's what I'm trying to get to. But in the beginning, the book starts at the beginning of, when I was younger. Obviously, I've had paranormal experiences other than this. And I've been able to see things since I was little, very small. And I just grew up that way. So it wasn't anything strange to me. And my family, it wasn't taboo. So, spirits, ghosts, and things. I come from a Native American background as well.
Sure.
All those things are not foreign. And it was kind of just how we grew up. But, having said that, no matter how much you delve into that, no matter how much you think, and how much you study and how much research you do, you don't know. Like, you don't know. And I know a lot of people would argue with that. And a lot of people would say, well, we've studied this, or we know demons. I'm a demonologist. I've done this for 20 years, whatever. But
mm-hmm.
I thought I thought I knew a little bit too. And I thought that there were certain things that couldn't happen to me, to anybody. I thought that if you didn't entertain the negative side of the paranormal, that it would not entertain you.
Sure.
And that is wrong. That's just so wrong.
And so I mean, basically, it starts off with, the idea of like you, and I do find it funny in a sense that you say that people are like, that they studied it, like you can't put, as you know very well, you can't put any sort of boundaries, restrainers, or anything around demons.
No, you can't. They don't have. People think that they have rules, and yes, to a certain extent, I guess they probably would, but those aren't rules; those are limitations.
Right.
Only because of the being that they are. But as far as rules, yeah, not it. The experience that I have had has broken a lot of rules that people assume, that we all thought, common things that people think are true about the paranormal were wrong.
Right.
People say if you're baptized, you're good. It doesn't matter.
No.
I don't I don't care if you're an ordained priest. I don't care. I feel, not even feel, the purer that you are, the better. It's just that much more. They're drawn to this because they want to destroy that. That's their goal. So, there are things you can do, I guess, but I don't know what the perfect recipe is. I don't know.
To me, would you agree with this or disagree that, regardless of religion, regardless of where demons existed, religion or whatever, their sole purpose is chaos, right?
Right. And it doesn't matter if you believe or don't believe either.
Right.
If you're an atheist, that does not stop them. They don't discriminate. And again, there's so much more to it that we don't know. We just don't. We're operating on a human level with these things because that's all we know to do. But um, once you're connected in such a way, you, I guess you're more privy to that the way that they operate. It's hard to explain. It's really difficult to explain. I'll start off. I'll go ahead with really where it went bad. I had a really bad time after my husband died. He committed suicide, and it was rough.
Sorry.
Things were rough, and things after that got really rough. It got pretty out of control pretty quickly. And, coming off of something so tragic, and me and the kids in the same house, it was, we're already damaged. We're already hurting. And things started to happen. And I guess the better part of you wants to think, okay, this person is here, and they're here to say, I'm okay. And especially with the way that he did, pass away, that left a whole other component to grief that, a lot of people don't understand. But it was really difficult. And it was small things at first, just seeing things out of the corner of my eye. Things would touch me. I think more significantly, there was a time when I really got grabbed really hard, and I knew that something was wrong. I knew that it wasn't something good. I knew it wasn't my husband. And things just, they spiraled. It took a maybe, it's not a long period of time, maybe 5 or 6 months before it really just went crazy.
That's pretty quick. And you said that, like, you could tell, I mean, obviously you could tell if it was your husband or not, like you said, but was it the degree of the touch, the grabbing, or was it even that plus something else that really started to get your attention?
It was the manner that it happened, and I guess the physical intent behind it. And that's the best way I can put it. It was not good physical intent. And then once my daughter had seen my husband, actually, she was 13 at the time, and she had seen him out in the yard, and she completely lost it. She was so upset. My friend and I had to carry her in the house. It was terrible. And she said that, she saw him out there. She saw him out there. And she said there was something wrong with him. He looked mad. And so I'm angry at this point. Like, I'm really angry at this point. You're upsetting my child. No, it's bad enough you've done what you did, and now you're hurting these children. And I was angry. So I'm going to be a mother, and I'm going to go out there and try to fix this. And when I went out by this tree where he had a shop out here, there was just, it felt really heavy, and I was angry. So I screamed and I yelled, and you can't do this, in so many words. And I had something flew by my right ear. It was so close, I heard it. And it was speeding. It was very fast, went by my ear, and I turned and watched it hit the ground. And it was a lug nut from a tire, and it just whizzed right by my head out in the yard, middle of the day. So I got the message at that point. Okay, something's really wrong.
Yeah. No, that's
yeah,
that's something. And you are, I mean, not to put words in your mouth, correct me if I'm wrong, you're kind of at your weakest anyway at the moment.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. You have 3 kids, and yeah, it was rough. A widow. It was hard. And so when that happens, I have nothing. There's no recourse you can take. What do you do?
Yeah.
You don't, I mean, I put it on the back burner because that's all I could do. I had to get through this, and things just got worse. Now, there is a person that came into the picture. That one's going to be tough. This person's in the book. His name is Jason. he came into the picture at that time, and he was a former pastor with the AG Church, and he was my friend for a while, and we were good friends. And he kind of, he wanted more than that, but I just wanted to be friends. But we were for a long time, and he was like, okay. When things started happening, he saw them too. It was a little bit different because somebody was like, okay, I do see things happening. So I took a little bit of comfort in the fact that I was believed.
Yeah.
And I just kind of went about my business and hoping that it would get better, that it would just kind of drop off. Maybe it was this energy and all. I mean, after someone commits suicide in a home, I mean, obviously, there are risks for things to be there. So I was thinking, this is maybe what it was. Maybe it's just going to kind of die down and it will go away. And I was very wrong.
It got worse.
Oh yeah, it got worse. It got very worse. A lot worse.
Cindy, why don't we do this? I'd like to, because I feel like we're going to get into that here. Why don't I go ahead, take our first break? That way we can focus more on what you're talking about. This is a very tough story to listen to. Yeah. I mean, you can tell it's very tough for you to recall. So let's take a break. When we get back, we're going to listen more to Cindy Sauer. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
Magus Books, your multicultural spiritual supply store. Stop in and expand your horizons with books, classes, readings, and supplies at magusbooks.com or in our shop at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis. From the best incense to beautiful statues, we have supplies and books for your spiritual explorations. Come in and chat with our knowledgeable staff and get what you need for your next adventure, whether you're fighting ghosts or opening your third eye. Check us out today at magusbooks.com.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with metamorphosisconnections.com. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search metamorphosisconnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on metamorphosisconnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting metamorphosisconnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's metamorphosisconnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
Hello, I'm Jody, also known as Witch Jody on social media. I opened Midwest Witchery and Healing in historic Stillwater because as a nurse, I love to help others. When you come and visit Midwest Witchery and Healing, you will find everything from divination and magical services, classes to ritual tools, jewelries, handcrafted candles, witchy gear, and much more. My store is a safe environment for all on their own unique path. Look for the purple door. Find out more at MidwestWitcheryHealing.com.
Hi, this is Paul Metza, inviting you to listen to the Wall of Power Radio Hour every weekend on AM 950. We are on at 6 p.m. on Saturday. We feature artists, musicians, raconteurs, private detectives, and more. 6 p.m. Saturday night on AM 950. Wall of Power Radio Hour.
And welcome back to Ghostbox Radio and AM 950. My name is Greg Bakken. We are talking with Cindy Sauer, and we are talking about the events that are in a book. We're going to be talking about how you can get the book in probably the next segment. It's called The Exorcism of Cindy Sauer. And Cindy, I do have to ask you, are you doing all right over there? Okay. I mean, I know this is not, it's tough. Yeah.
It's, but even though it's not easy, I really feel like people need to know this because this is not something that happens every day. And I just want people to be more aware of these things. And there are risks, that you can put yourself at. And I promise you, nobody wants to have to go through that.
No. So where we left off, folks, is that Cindy's husband passed away, and things started to get aggressive with spirit energy. Where we left off talking about something being thrown at her outside after an appearance of her husband, seen by her daughter. A lug nut was thrown at you, Cindy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, before we get on it, at the time, did you think the appearance of your husband was really him? And now do you think, if you did, do you now think that was him or that was something else?
At the time I did think it was him. I did. And I thought that he was very angry at me.
Okay.
I know that was not him.
No.
90% that it wasn't him. Yeah, at the time I did. And it was scary, because if he's capable of doing that, and this is the man I was with for 18 years,
Yeah.
if capable of doing that, like, what did I do? What is he going to do if he can? So yeah, that was rough, because when we were married, it was tough. There was abuse, he was an alcoholic for a good long time. So it was hard. So, you have to go there. Your brain has to go there. That's the first thing you think. So yeah, at the time I did. Now, no, I know it wasn't him. So,
I get it.
yeah.
So what happened next?
I think that other things were thrown. Those weren't the only things that were thrown. There was a Bible that went across the room. It got destroyed. It just flew across the room, pages everywhere. Things like that would happen. My crucifix. It's so strange, because now, looking back on it now, a big picture is different. But when these small things happen, you're more tolerant to them. I had a crucifix that broke. It fell off the wall, and I watched it fall, and it broke at the wrists and at the ankles, and so Christ broke off that way.
Wow.
Yeah, that was disturbing. Crosses would be upside down. They really would. Things would move. Things would roll. Doors would open and close. It just kept escalating. There was a time when all the cabinets in the kitchen would open at one time. They would open and slam. The dryer would open and slam. That was physical stuff that started to kind of, it started to escalate that way. And that was just not there yet. We're not there yet.
This is like the infestation
stage
of the four stages of demonic possession.
The thing is that at these times I could hear these things speaking to me. And I just thought, I'm stressed. I'm stressed. This is a lot, and I'm just stressed. But I did hear them, and it was whispers. And at that point, just these incessant whispers. When I would get really stressed out, especially. And, I just didn't think much of it as far as it being something outside of me. And as far as being I've been in the paranormal field, been researching for a very long time, and even long before that. And I never studied demons. I never studied demonology. I knew a little about it, but I was terrified of it. I didn't even want to give it any thought. So, thinking that it could be that, I was like, I didn't even entertain anything like that. And it's surreal. So how are you going to, it's hard to accept. So you can't just say, hey, look, I think there are demons around. Let's do something. It doesn't work that way.
No,
it doesn't work that way.
Because it has to play with your sanity a little bit, right?
A lot. And that's what these things do. That's the bigger part. As much as you see that happens outwardly to a person who is oppressed or possessed, the inward part, I promise you, there was 100 times more going on inside than there is outside. Absolutely. It's very much a battle. Even that person may be sitting still, but inside it is not still. These things are just, they're relentless, and they will attack you in here as much as they do outside. So, and I think that's something that people really don't know. That it's not a constant state of, you're not laying in a bed and puking and, all that.
Right.
You're functional. There are many moments when you're functional, but it's more terrifying because you don't know when you're not going to be. You don't know when they're going to do this again, so the waiting game is a tough game. And it's that really messes with your head too. And I think that's probably part of the plan. Everything that they do is systematically used to break you down.
Well, and isn't it true? I mean, that when you're in these situations, when you're under possession, that the purpose is to isolate you from others, right?
Absolutely. And they're good at that. They're good. People don't want to be around you when you're like that.
No.
Who wants to be around that? A few people, very few people, were by my side at that time. Even after my husband died, that really turned a lot of people off, and they just kind of disappeared. So it was rough. It was a lonely time. There was a particular incident though. I went to do some investigating in a place that I really wanted to go to for a while. And that's when I had my first real physical attack. And I call these attacks, they're not something attacking me. It's when they get inside of me and they take control. And that was the first time it happened. And that one, I mean, it was scary. It was confusing. And to be split is weird when you're not in control of yourself. But you can see, I think people may think you don't know what's happening, but you do. You're very aware, you're very awake, but there's just nothing you can do. There's just nothing you can do. And it may be fuzzy at times where you can't remember some things, but you're very aware of what's going on as a whole. So
what would they do to you? What would they make you do?
They would talk. A lot of it was the talking, and the talking was manipulation. And you're going crazy. I'm not really here. You're imagining me, which that in itself is just crazy. But then once it got so far, and after a few attacks, is when they would start to tell me, you should take that knife over there and just stab it right in his back. He won't feel it. It'll be okay. Or take that hammer and, hit him over the head a few times. Snap that person's neck. Like if I would get really upset and angry, I just would it would start to turn into where they would just take over. And I would really feel like I'm just going to kill that person. Like I'm going to do it, but not me.
Yeah.
Not me. They got so good at being in there and so good, at taking over that it wasn't to a point where they would physically, and I want to rephrase that part of it, because they don't take control of you and manipulate you the way that you are as a human, because they can't. Their movements, the way that they operate, they can't make our bodies do things themselves. They can, if they take over your mind, if they oppress you, they can push you to do things. They can coax you to doing things and like that, influence you. But they can't physically take your body and take your hand and stab a knife.
Yeah.
They could not do that. But they could very much try to get me to do it. Like push, they can push you to a point where you're right there. And even to myself,
Sure.
I would be violent to me. I would lose control and punch myself repeatedly and not feel it, or scratch myself, or pull out my hair, or bite myself really hard and draw blood and keep biting. And and I never felt it when it happened. I was not in control when it happened, but it did happen. It happened a couple of times. So
how close were you to hurting somebody?
never.
You were able to control that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was never close to hurting anybody. Only myself.
Which is bad enough, but yeah.
Yeah, that was very bad. But no, they did not have that control. And having said that, my faith is strong. I'm not your traditional Christian by any means, but my faith is strong. And, there's a part of you that stays there that they can't control. And that part just gets deep inside. But there's that part that they can't cross that. And so, I mean, that in itself is thank God for that. But no, I never came close to hurting anybody, even though they would push me in that direction. I never came close, never worried about it. I was never violent toward another person the whole time. So,
which is great.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't, there are things that you feel guilty over. You carry a certain amount of guilt for having to expose people to it. That's a big part of it. The guilt is that will definitely plague you if you let it. Because after all, it is your body.
Where do you think these? Was it more than one? Was it multiple?
It's never one.
Yeah, right. It's always
always many.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, there were many.
Where do you think this started? I mean, do you think it started as simply you being at your weakest point? Did your husband have anything to do with it, being the type of person that he was, or from childhood? What do you think?
Honestly, I really feel like that it was a childhood event that just needed a catalyst.
Okay.
And we've so many people have asked me that, and I've actually just discussed this with so many people, with the priest, with and that's the part that's confusing, because we don't really know for sure. We can't pinpoint it, and that makes it that much more difficult, because how do you solve it if you don't know what the origin is? Like, where did it come from? And we've tried different approaches to to helping and taking care of it.
Did you ever think, I mean, did you try or ever think of like any sort of regression or anything like that? I mean, I'm sure everything I'm saying, you're just like, yeah, Greg. Do you think you haven't tried?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything I haven't tried yet, because I've been dealing with it for such a long time.
Do you think that they're hiding it purposely in your mind? So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Just as much as if something's happening, let's just, for instance, say, the priest is coming over for an exorcism. They're not going to tell me, hey, I'm coming over at 12 for an exorcism. They're not going to tell me anything. There might say he wants to come and just speak to you for a minute, which is how they did the first time. Because whatever I know, they will know. So, yeah. So I knew already. I knew what was going to happen. I already knew it. And they were going before the priest even got there. It was bad before that even happened. And they left me in the house by myself, which was not a good idea. I don't know why they did that, but the guy that was there, that was helping me, went out to meet the team, and they left me in the house. And by the time they got back in, I was going for the cutting board, and I was going to cut my leg open. I was being instructed to cut open my thigh and open it up to see what was in it. It was just a way of just making me crazy. And I started to really lose control physically, like hardcore lose control. Then by the time the priest got there, I was fully gone, as far as I was aware, but And I had moments where I could come through, but it was pretty bad at that point. So
because how many sessions did your exorcism take?
Well, I've had 2 exorcisms.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had 2. And they were 2 separate ones. The first one, how many? Oh goodness. Well, I don't know how long it was. It was quite a while. And they had to repeat the rite. I don't know. I know more than one time, but I'm not sure how many. They did record it, but I've never seen it. The recording is logged away. So I would prefer it be that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure, because there are, like I said, there are gaps, and there are moments when I was not, fully aware. I don't, and saying that, I don't know the lapses because I can't remember. So,
right.
And I've heard some of the people who were there have told me some things, like my eyes changed completely, just to white. I know I pushed a couch with just like my head, on the floor, like just pushed so hard the couch like went. It went 3 or 4 feet, I think. I know there were a lot of people holding me down, and that it's fuzzy, but I remember the just the basic structure of the people in the room. That's all I can. That's the only way I can describe it, because I'm not seeing them, but I'm feeling them.
Got it.
And it's so strange. It's just it's hard to convey. It's really hard to convey.
And you're hoping that no one ever has to be able to feel it from your thing.
Yeah. No.
I hate doing this. We're going to have to take another break it seems so ridiculous after having this very strong topic to be like, and we'll be right back. I'm sorry, we have to do it. So, and you know that. I know. I just feel really weird after a very heavy conversation. Why don't we do this? We're going to talk more about Cindy's exorcism. We're going to talk about her book. We're heading into the last segment. And we're going to continue this conversation about the exorcism of Cindy Sauer. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
Hello, I'm Jody, also known as Witch Jody on social media. I opened Midwest Witchery and Healing in historic Stillwater because as a nurse, I love to help others. When you come and visit Midwest Witchery and Healing, you will find everything from divination and magical services, classes to ritual tools, jewelries, handcrafted candles, witchy gear, and much more. My store is a safe environment for all on their own unique path. Look for the purple door. Find out more at MidwestWitcheryHealing.com.
Located just north of 50th in France, the Great Wall Restaurant has provided a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, they offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Stop by their Edina location or call for takeout at 952-927-4439. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
If you own a holistic or metaphysical business and are looking to expand, then you need to be listed on metamorphosisconnections.com. It's a network where you can grow with like-minded practitioners and reach new clients. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory you need to list yourself and your business. Our platform makes it easy for you to create listings of your products and services, and you can also choose to list your classes, events, and so much more. Metamorphosisconnections.com helps you create weekly and monthly promotional ads targeted towards your potential clients and promotes them for you via social media and newsletter. There are clients searching for your specialty right now. Let us help them find you. Start your listing today so you can share your own unique gifts and talents by finding the level of membership that best fits your needs. Let us help you reach your clients that are searching for what you do. Visit metamorphosisconnections.com and sign up today.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clouds clear out tonight with a low of 10, then partly sunny Tuesday with a high of 29. Cafe Latte is unlike any restaurant you've ever experienced. Grab a tray and pick from their award-winning selections of soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts. Cafe Latte, Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul, or cafelatte.com.
And join us this week on Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken. We are going to have on tomorrow, we're going to be talking about legendary monsters. We're talking with Lyle Blackburn. I've been trying to get Lyle on the show for about 8 years. So I think that it's high time that we get him on. Wednesday, we're going to be talking about Secrets of the Asylum that airs on Fox Nation. We're going to have Scott Porter in for that. You might remember Scott from the Tennessee Wraith Chasers back in the programs that they had done back in the day. Thursday, we're going to have the return of Moon Girl, Mistress of the Paranormal. She was on my first weeknight show, but we're going to be talking about Chinese face readings. And then Friday, it's the return of Casual Friday. And also we're going to have Joe Prozit stop by as well for a segment talking about the launch of his book series and For Order. But we have a very serious conversation going on right now. We have Cindy Sauer on her book that she's written that is not currently available, but will be, The Exorcism of Cindy Sauer. We are going to be talking about a lot of this, and got a comment for you, Cindy. Joe says that so much respect for Cindy. More than a survivor, takes a very strong person to share this story. And as you know, as we can see, I mean, this isn't an easy story to tell at all. And I appreciate you talking with us about it, because I am not a demonologist, but I study it. And so it's, you know, it's very interesting to see, you know, what's going on. So you're free of it.
I don't know. Maybe. We hope.
I mean, are you worried? I mean, I'll say it nicely. Are you worried talking about it?
No.
That doesn't bother you at all.
Bother me. No.
Do you think that actually weakens them by exposing them?
Well, yes, I do. I feel it's me taking my power back too. So
right.
It's a good thing, and I wouldn't do it if I felt like I couldn't, or you know, that there was some kind of risk. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now we have roughly about 15 minutes left, and I want to make sure that we're getting to everything that you want to. Where do you want to go to next with this?
You know, the exorcism having been done.
Yeah.
Again, it was not the only one. There was another. And after the second one, I'm just going to just go through that.
Yep.
And there will be a book about that as well. But the second one was more intense. There was a different approach to it. And it went well for a good long time. And then when I moved, and I did end up, you know, with this person, we didn't get married, but I did end up with this person. And it fell into another abuse situation, and things started to kick up again. And I ended up, he died.
Okay.
So the man in the book, he died.
Okay.
We did have a child, and he died of a brain aneurysm. But the relationship was very, very bad. And that is, that is, I think one of the reasons why the book was taken out of circulation. There were some people that are not happy with it, and there are people who do not want it circulated, and they're going to try to not have it circulated. But you know, I can do that myself.
Are they people that are connected to this guy or something else?
It's something else as well. It's this person. There are people a person connected with them, and then there are some other people as well who are not happy about it, in a different and part of the paranormal field. So I actually went to a convention at one time, a paranormal convention, and it went really bad. It went really bad. I was in the, they were interviewing us, and I got an attack in front of like 100 people, I think. And it shut the whole thing down and everybody left. So, yeah, people think that some people have it wrong. It's really concerning as far as the field goes to see people do things that they're doing. It's a little bit scary. I'm scared for people.
Are you scared of the fact that people are creating their own narrative from your story?
No.
What is it that you're afraid of?
I'm just afraid that they don't know what they're messing with. There are people
I see.
Don't understand, and I don't wish this on anybody. The likelihood is probably very slim, but any likelihood is not good. And there have been so many people that have been affected by this, not just me. And there are people who it's caused me a lot of damage.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who I've lost over it. A lot of people who don't want anything to do with me, even family.
Yeah.
So as far as isolating, it becomes isolating because, you can't tell people. How do you say it? How do you say this? How do you convey this to your family and have them believe you and then have them be supportive? And, those three things they don't go together. And it's not only people, it was that family, it was friends, it was a lot of people. So, and it still happens. People don't know how to, they don't know how to respond to it. I mean, what do you say?
What I think is also scary in that vein that we're talking about here is you have people who are in this field who they may not be trying to do like reach out to demons or anything, but and I'm sure this is what you mean too, is that they just feel like that they're invincible because they don't respect the power. I mean, I mean, I don't mean that in a good way. You just have to know if you're calling on something. I know people who tend to go under, they say they go under a trance. I don't even know if they really do or not. What is wrong with you? Why are you doing stuff like that?
I don't know.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
And these people who, these bigger names in the paranormal field who like to think that they're challenging demons.
Yeah.
Are going and everything's a demon everywhere they go. They've never actually experienced what a real demon is or what it does. They don't know, or they wouldn't be. And that makes me pretty angry. There are some people I'd like to slap sideways, honestly, who are big in the field, because not only are they, they're doing things that are detrimental to themselves, they're also teaching people who watch them and actually think that they're great to do silly things too. And that's just bad. Like the field has just turned to that, and it's just not good. It's not.
No, there's a lot of by example sort of things happening. That's cute. Who's your kitty? Who's your kitty?
This is Fudge.
Oh, Fudge.
Say hi.
We needed Fudge to make an appearance tonight. We really did. What a cutie. Yeah, no, it is ridiculous. It is out of control. I do think it's out of control, but they don't care. No one cares.
Of course they don't. Well, it'll bite them one day. I hate it, but it will. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Because it's anytime and that's, do you think you've invited something in when this all started?
No.
So that's one of the norms that you had kind of alluded to.
Right. No. Nope. I do not. That was not the case. Unfortunately. And here's the thing. These people that are devil worshipers and, they're running around doing things in the name of Satan and worshiping him, that this is not their focus. That's not their focus. They don't need to do anything to these people.
No.
They are going to find the brightest light and they want to snuff it out. And that's what they try to do.
Yeah.
That's basically in so many different ways. And like I said, again, it's not just physical. It's every part of you. It's every part of you. It's your psyche. It's your soul. It's your physical body. It's everything. It's all.
Now we're coming up about 6 minutes left. What is happening with the book then?
Okay, so the book was taken out of circulation a few years ago.
Yep.
I did Dark Moon Press recently, and they did inform me that it was taken out of circulation. And I told them under no circumstances would I have taken it out of circulation. And I kind of had an idea of how that would have happened, and I don't really want to, say anything.
Sure. Nope, that's fine.
But it was, and I was not aware that for a few years now, it has not been able to be purchased. So we're going to fix that. We're in the works right now. We're fixing that. And I am purchasing a box of books. So if anybody would like a book at this point, all they would need to do is find me on Facebook. And it's Cynthia L. Sauer on Facebook right now. And after that, they just DM me and we can get something going. So I'm still working on kicking off an Instagram and everything again. So we're working on that. We're in the infant stages right now, but we're getting there.
I would definitely, even though my camera has stopped, and it's just bad battery. I would definitely, I'm going to reach out to you about that. I really want to read that book.
Okay, that's great. Anybody that wants a copy and even wants to know more, ask me a question. It's okay. That I don't mind answering questions. I know people are curious, and it might help people be a little more understanding too. So I'm open to questions. But again, there will be a part 2, and we're rolling with that. So be ready for that one.
Yeah. No, I mean it's pretty incredible. What would you recommend for anyone who, because I think part of what was going on here is that you're kind of doubting what was happening, right?
Right. Look, don't trust your gut on these things. And I'm not even just saying, as far as demonic activity, but the paranormal field is a strange thing. I mean, everything is strange. It just is. And if something's going on that you're not sure about, if something is bothering you or causing you any kind of distress at all, even if it's a loved one, you really should address it. Don't put it on the back burner. Take these things seriously, and not like TV seriously, not
right.
Seriously. Take them seriously as in, on a spiritual level. You really have to. Just because it's not physical doesn't mean it's not real.
What would you recommend someone does if they feel like that there is something very wrong going on with them?
You need to find a very a good paranormal team. Do your research on that one. Find a good local team. If not, reach out to me. I'll help you find one. I'll look. I've got connections in places I can dig up, and I can try to help the best I can. But get help from a good team, and don't wait. Don't put it off.
Are you thinking team over like a demonologist or something?
I'm not. I'm thinking a person who knows a lot, but a lot of paranormal teams, they need to come in and document first. You know how that is.
Yeah.
Documentation has to be there in order for it, for the demonic activity to be taken seriously. It really does help. So yeah, it should be a good team who knows what they're doing, obviously, and a demonologist absolutely would help. So I agree.
And that's a hard one, isn't it? Because you said like finding a good one, because it is hard.
There are hack teams out there. Anybody can put a team together and say, hey, we're a paranormal team, and they've been doing it for 2 days. You really have to do your research. And a TAPS team is, if you can find that, a TAPS member team, and I did that. So that's the recommendation I can give you.
And for people who don't know, TAPS team is a ghost hunters like Jason Haas, an affiliate from them.
And they have teams all over the world that are part of their group. and they're usually very good teams. So
we have one in the Twin Cities here. So yeah,
that would be my recommendation. So yeah, take it seriously. Take all seriously.
It really it is. And I mean, and you know, one last thing is before we start wrapping up. I mean, the one thing that is very important too is, you know, what you had said about, you know, you feel like it might. People are very quick to say, "Oh, it's a demon," but to your point, you'll know if it's something more than just some kind of spirit interference.
You will know. Trust me, you will know. That's all I have to say. You will know. If you say, "Is it a demon?" It's not.
Right. Oh. That's a great way of saying it. Actually, if you even question it,
yeah, then it's not. Yeah.
It is not. I've run into a couple cases.
Yes, true.
And you got to be careful. That's for sure.
You
wow. Cindy Sauer, what a incredible conversation. I really would like to have you back on and talk more. You know, when you're ready or when you have something to talk about, because this is very informative and people need to hear this.
Yeah, I agree. And thank you for having me on. Thank you very much. I would love to come back.
Absolutely. Tomorrow we have Lyle Blackburn. Have a good night, everybody.
Your radio station for the Resistance, the David Pakman Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. on AM 950 KTNF.